So this brings us to the elite pedophile rings. These pedophile rings usually are active in politics, big businessmen, bankers. This one I'm going to be specifically focusing on more politics though. Probably one of the most famous examples of a pedophile ring that goes straight to the top would be the Lolita Express. And the Lolita Express was a Boeing 727 that was owned by Jeffrey Epstein. The Lolita Express has become infamous for ferrying rich elite people to and from the mainland to Jeffrey Epstein's island, Orgy Island. And on the Lolita Express, there have been reports of mostly underage girls being there for sexual activities with these elite people. So this guy, Jeffrey Epstein, he's a billionaire, but it's very enigmatic how he's made his fortune. Nobody's really sure what he's done in order to bring himself about billions of dollars. He does own a couple companies, but these don't seem to be companies to the caliber to bring him in the money that he has. And a number of guests who have been reported on the Lolita Express and been seen on Orgy Island include Bill Clinton, the ex-president of the United States, Stephen Hawking, and Prince Andrew of the royal family. The relationship Jeffrey Epstein does have with people seems to be pretty shady. He's built himself around very powerful people, very powerful friends, who not only can protect him, but because of what they do, he now has dirt on them to blackmail them, if ever the time should ever call, which would have been very convenient should Hillary Clinton have been elected to the office. This is because it has been reported that between 2001 and 2003, Bill Clinton has rode the Lolita Express 26 times. Bill Clinton, who has had rape charges put against him, wouldn't be surprised if those extended to pedophilia charges. And Jeffrey Epstein has been known to donate to the Clinton Foundation. In fact, when the Lolita Express and his Orgy Island was getting exposed, he made a rather large donation to the Clintons at that time. Probably he was getting their help in order to keep him out of trouble. However, I stated earlier that it would have been very convenient for Jeffrey Epstein if the Clintons had gotten into power. It should be worth noting that the current president, Donald Trump, does have a relationship with Epstein, and he himself has been reported of riding the Lolita Express and being on Orgy Island. Trump has been a frequent dinner guest with Epstein, and Epstein has visited Trump in his Mar-a-Lago home. Some have even alleged that Jeffrey Epstein has recruited one or two of these underage girls from Trump's Mar-a-Lago home. But according to this one article, which lists 7 things you should know about Trump and Epstein, it said, we'll go through them one by one. Trump himself has said that Epstein is, quote, a lot of fun to be with, adding that he admired the sex offender's affinity for beautiful women on the younger side. Quote, I've known Jeff for 15 years. Terrific guy, end quote. Trump once said about a convicted sex offender, quote, he's a lot of fun to be with. It is even said that he likes beautiful women as much as I do, and many of them are on the younger side. No doubt about it, Jeffrey enjoys his social life, end quote. Trump was named Epstein's Little Black Book. This Little Black Book where he keeps a lot of celebrity names. In fact, one Guardian article alleged that inside of Jeffrey Epstein's Little Black Book, he has A-list celebrities such as Dustin Hoffman, Naomi Campbell, Tony Blair, Michael Bloomberg. But anyway, Epstein's Little Black Book was stolen by a former employee in 2004. The book, nicknamed The Holy Grail by the employee, revealed the name of Donald Trump and listed 14 phone numbers, including emergency numbers, car numbers, and number to Trump's security guard and houseman. Trump has allegedly flown on Epstein's private plane, a hotspot for underage sex orgies. Mark Epstein, Jeffrey's brother, testified in 2009 that Trump flew on Jeffrey's private jet at least once, reports Vice News. Meanwhile, message pads from Epstein's Palm Beach mansion that were seized by investigators and obtained by Vice News indicate that Trump called Epstein twice in November of 2004. Epstein's private Boeing 727, according to one of his alleged victims, Virginia Roberts, was nicknamed the Lolita Express. Roberts recalled unsavory sex orgies on the private plane when she was just 15 years of age with Epstein and his friends. Both Trump and Epstein are named as sex abusers in a case with an underage girl. Radar Online reports that a woman in California identified as Katie Johnson filed a $100 million lawsuit against Trump on April 26, accusing the real estate mogul of raping her when she was just 13 years old. Johnson claims Trump raped her when she was 13 years old and forced her to engage in sex acts by threatening to harm her and her family, notes the Independent UK. She claims that the alleged abuse took place over a 4-month period at underage sex parties held in New York City in 1994. Epstein was also named for alleged sexual misconducts and threats. Epstein admitted to knowing Trump under oath and curiously pled the fifth to Trump attending sex parties with underage girls. So the quote, as it goes when asked by the lawyers, is, "Have you ever had a personal relationship with Donald Trump?" "What do you mean by personal relationship, sir?" "Have you socialized with him?" "Yes, sir." "Have you ever socialized with Donald Trump in the presence of females under the age of 18? Although I'd like to answer that question, at least today I'm going to have to assert my 5th, 6th, and 14th Amendment rights, sir. So he refused to answer the question when asked about sexual parties. How very interesting. And finally, the last two is, at least one of Epstein's underage sex victims was recruited from Trump's Mar-a-Lago, which he frequented often, as I was stating earlier. Trump was subpoenaed in 2009 for his connection to Epstein's underage sex slave rings. Trump was denied ever being served, even though the fact we seem to have multiple witnesses that would say that he was there. So it would seem that Trump is actually just as guilty as everybody else in doing this, which then makes something a little bit interesting to me. I remember a while back, Alex Jones, when talking about Trump, who's a big Trump supporter, Trump can never really do any wrong in Alex Jones's eyes. This can be confirmed if you go listen to the Joe Rogan Experience, episode 911. It had Alex Jones and Eddie Bravo on. And in this interview that Joe did, in this podcast that Joe did with Alex said that during the interview that he did with Trump, after the interview, Trump apparently said to him that they are going after the pedophiles and the sex rings that is involved at the elite level. Yet when I look at this, it almost seems to me like, well, Trump was active in this. Then why would he be trying to destroy all his friends? The more I look into Trump, the less I believe his MAGA, Make America Great, the system is fucked and I'm going to make it right quote. But it seems to me like he's almost a plant. It seems to me that he's actually bumping shoulders with the status quo, people of the status quo. So how then can we expect Trump to actually change the system, and why would he change the system? And we have a few different stories from victims who are making accusations against Jeff Epstein. Here's one by a woman named Mary. It says, 3 years after the profile ran, Palm Beach police officer Michael Pagan got a disturbing message. A woman reported that her 14-year-old stepdaughter confided in a friend that she had sex with an older man for money. That man's name was Jeff, and he lived in a mansion on a cul-de-sac. A friend of a friend, Mary said, told her that she could make hundreds of dollars in 1 hour just for massaging some middle-aged guy's feet. Lots of other girls had been doing it, some 3 times a week. Mary claimed that she had been driven to the mansion on El Brillo Way, where a female staffer escorted her up a pink-carpeted staircase, then into a room with a massage table, an armoire topped with sex toys, and a photo of a little girl pulling her underwear off. Epstein entered the room wearing only a towel, Mary said. Quote, he took off the towel. He was a really built guy, but his wee-wee was very tiny. Mary said Epstein got on the table and barked orders at her. She told police that she was alone in the room with him, terrified. Pagan, who was the officer taking this down, wrote the following in her incident report. She removed her pants, leaving her thong panties on. She straddled his back, whereby her exposed buttocks were touching Epstein's exposed buttocks. Epstein then turned on his side and started to rub his penis in an up and down motion. Epstein pulled up a purple vibrator and began to massage Mary's vaginal area. Only thing about this, I don't know why they can't just be specific. They say he pulled his penis in an up and down motion. He started masturbating. And he put a vibrator next to her vagina. That's what happened, not her vaginal area. I just find it waters it down what they actually do when you use words like that. That it actually is more detrimental than it is helpful. Palm Beach assigned 6 more detectives to the investigation. They conducted a trash pull of Epstein's garbage, sifting through paper with phone numbers, used condoms, toothbrushes, worn underwear. In one pull, police found a piece of paper with Mary's phone number on it, along with the number of the person who recruited her. So that's one story against Epstein. We also have another by a woman named Allison. On September 11, 2005, detectives got another break. Allison, as she was called, told Detective Joe Reckery that she had been going to Epstein's house since she was 16. Allison had been working at the Wellington Green Mall, saving up for a trip to Maine, when a friend told her, quote, you can get a plane ticket in 2 hours. We can go and give this guy a massage and he'll pay $200. Allison told Reckery that she visited Epstein hundreds of times. She said that he had bought her a new 2005 Dodge Neon, plane tickets, and gave her spending money. Allison said that even asked her to emancipate from her parents so she could live with him full-time as his sex slave. She said Epstein slowly escalated his sexual requests, and despite Allison's insistence that they never have intercourse, alleged this one time he bent me over on the table and put himself in me without my permission. Allison then asked if what Epstein had done to her was rape, and spoke of her abject fear of him. Yes, that is without a doubt rape right there. And just a little cherry on top of the cake. Some of the most shocking allegations against Epstein surfaced only after the conclusion of an FBI probe in civil suits brought by his victims. For example, the claim that 3 12-year-old French girls were delivered to him as a birthday present. But the feds did identify roughly 40 women, most of them underage at the time, who described being lured to Epstein's Palm Beach home on the presence of giving a massage for money, then pressured into various sex acts, as well as the Balkan sex slave Epstein allegedly boasted of purchasing from her family when she was just 14. Most recently, a big cash payment from Mail on Sunday coaxed one of Epstein's main accusers out of anonymity to describe what she claimed were her years as a teenage sex toy. This victim, Virginia Roberts, produced a photo of herself with Prince Andrew in 2001 and reports that Epstein paid her $15,000 to meet the prince. Then 17 years old, she claimed that she was abused by Epstein and loaned to his friends from the age of 15. Sex crimes of this kind, Roberts alleged, took place typically carry a term of 10 to 20 years in federal prison. Yet when all was said and done, Epstein served his scant year plus 1 month in a private wing of the Palm Beach jail and was granted a 16-hour per day free pass to leave the premises for work. So he was there to sleep. So jail was for a year and 1 month is where he dropped his shit off. That's all it was. It wasn't a punishment for him. What the fuck is this? 10, 20 years? You're in a year plus 1? That's not all. That guy I was talking about earlier, Marty Weiss, he got 6 months in jail for molesting one child, and he also had a few other charges against him. 6 months. Year and a half. This is ridiculous. These charges that we lay on child molesters and pedophiles and predators is ridiculous. 10 to 20 years, and you serve a year and a half. How does that happen? How have we allowed this to happen in our court system?